So for lesson 2.4, we're looking at our seed soaking and sanitizing area. We caught a glimpse of that in our last look at our workbench, because in this system we've got the two together. So here we're looking at an area to rinse, soak, and sanitize our seed. And one of the key things is having good water access and good drainage. So what we're using here in this system is just a couple tables. Here's a table where I can have my totes that I'm working with, just to have my seeds and everything ready to go. And this here actually works really well because it allows water to drain through it. You can get another look at this here. This system has changed into many different iterations over the years, but it's a very, very simple, similar thing all the time. A little bit of workspace and then some bench space that allows drainage to happen below. So really this is going to depend on what your layout looks like. As you can see, we've got it integrated very close to our tray prep areas. But for your system, this might actually be something that happens in your harvest area if you've got the space. So this just happened to be the best way to get things to work for us. You can use different equipment here. Here's one of the totes we use for rinsing our seeds. It's just basically a good heavy-duty plastic bin with holes in the bottom to allow water to drain through. We try to keep the holes fairly small and do lots of them to avoid any seed going through. Because what we want to avoid is any seed on the ground outside, because that's actually going to attract rodents and pests to our production area. And then here's another case where we're actually just using a bucket for drainage as well. So that's something that really, in some cases, actually works better for some crops. There's various equipment that comes with the seed sanitizing. So here's just sort of all the buckets and rinsing and soak bins that we use. And we have a good storage area for these. So once we're finished with them and they're washed and sanitized, we can put them away in a manner that means they're not going to get contaminated by another process. And this is really, really important to keep this equipment particularly clean because it is there to soak and sanitize your seed. So we'll actually get a look more at these areas as we look at the processes later in this series. This is just a little overview, and as we see what things look like, you'll get to take a look at the area in action. So yeah, just some of the equipment there. Like I said, we want to have a bench for rinsing things, and having something where the water can flow through like we had there works really, really well. You need different totes for soaking and rinsing your seeds. Sanitizing supplies and sanitizer. So as I'll talk about later, clean seed is really, really important. And so there are different ways to sanitize the seed as a preventative measure for avoiding any pathogens that might be present. With that, we're going to need measuring cups, hose and nozzle with our water source. With sanitizer, we actually want to have good storage for that sanitizer. Some health authorities will require that it be locked in a specific area, so we recommend that. And then ideally, you've got really good drainage because you don't want to be rinsing all this water onto the ground and have a sort of standing pool of water where you're working. So this is just sort of a general look at what that looks like. And as we get into the production process later, you can see this a little more in action.